This is Jonathan Price. Like I said before, I'm from Fredericksburg, Virginia, a long way away from home. First time out of the country, first time in China, and to make Rugine the first stop is absolutely amazing. I'm loving everything about it right now. I've seen inside of President Mao Zedong's home, seen a lot of different ways of how they gathered water, how they just went about their daily lives, and to know that this is the spot to where they would leave and kind of feign against the enemy and start their long march. It's going to be a wild journey the rest of these, 40 days, 40 some odd days we have left. I cannot wait. I think we're going to have a lot of fun. Somebody who is at their lowest while I'm at my highest. Literally, I'm at my lowest, but feeling at my highest, or reverse those words, I'm scared. But it's fine. I just got on top above ground. You want to know where God is? He's right there. He is. I just waved at him. Hi! I'm scared out of my mind. I hope you understand this. But for some reason, a little voice inside me said, go on up there. I know you have a fear of heights, but it's going to be really fun. Well, it's been fun. This has been a wonderful August 26th or 25th. I can't remember the days because I'm scared out of my mind. I'm able to see a lot of comparisons between this and our American Civil War. Speaking of the Civil War and speaking of gruesome, there's actually a kind of similar story at the Battle of Gettysburg. There was a Union general who was sitting on his horse telling his troops to, keep fighting, and a cannonball came by and took off his leg. And instead of withering in pain or crying about it, he just said, give me a cigar, and he just kept smoking.
I'm familiar with Islam, I'm familiar with Christianity, I'm familiar with Judaism. I am not familiar with Buddhism at all. I took a Western religions class, but that doesn't teach you to experience. This is beautiful. This is unique. So when I walk in, I'm taking it all in. It still leaves me breathless, speechless. I don't even know where to begin. But it still also leaves me thankful, humble, grateful. Thank you.
It's cold, and from what I read, the weather was never a nice, consistent thing. It was either really, really cold, or the blazing sun mixed in with the muggy weather around it, caused people to be dehydrated. And the food wasn't, that great around here. You put it like that, it only gets more sad, because I'm conflicted, really, because we have a beautiful background. We have great hills, great rolling hills and nice grasslands, but the history behind it completely takes away from its beauty. You have thousands of people who've died here, crossing. They weren't fighting an enemy at this point. They were just moving so they wouldn't have to fight. And what they ended up fighting was nature. They didn't have food, and they didn't have, a lot of great resources around them. So some were too weak to move on, as you can see the statue depicting. I mean, first I'd be like, I don't want to do that at all. But, you're doing it not for you, you're doing it for your country. A new China that's coming, the future. Talking about the spirit of the Long March and how the Red Army was able to get up through the Lazaco Pass. I'm not able to have the same feelings because I'm not as culturally connected. Sadly, I'm just an American, but the history of this place, the history of the Long March has just been, probably put it in the best metaphor possible. It's like it's like a really, really intense marathon. And at the very end of the marathon, you have to get told that you're going to have to cross another marathon. Because they just finished crossing the grasslands. They were already beaten and tired and so weak and famished. And then they have to come up here and the most narrow place and have to fight against an enemy again. I don't know how you could even like get yourself going again from that. It's remarkable. The spirit that was getting them through it, or just the sheer willpower, it's something that should be modeled after. And I know that, you know, there are military academies that talk about this place is one of the greatest, you know, military victories. It was this very simple tactic brought on by extraordinary men, because they were able to go from really tired to, well, this is for everyone else. This is for the future of China. And they would scale this mountain. They would scale this little pass and start dropping grenades down, raining as much hell as they could onto their enemy until they succeeded. Yeah, they didn't lose that many, but they also didn't have that many left. When we get towards the end of this march, there's about 95% or 93% of the original members of the Long March died. So about 7% made it. That's not much, but it was enough. And that's what matters most. We're in Zhou Enlai's house, where his living quarters at the time here in Hadapu. Hopefully I said that right. And we heard the story about his, you know, he was sick from crossing the grasslands, and then how he needed medicine, but he couldn't pay for it, so they offered a spoon, and lo and behold, he survived. But one of the really cool things about this area is, it's one thing that no one really kind of touched on too deeply. It's not so much the Long March history as it is the populace around it. It's a very busy city that they try to keep all the history around it, but they allow modern life to occur. There's a Muslim populace that's here. There are a whole bunch of children. Actually, when we were walking down the street, you saw like kids getting released from school. So that was really neat to see. How you have two different times. You have now and then living together at one. That's really neat to see. And it's been rough. I am not gonna lie, it's been rough. Going this massive amount of kilometers, just like they did. You know, we're riding in a car, we're seeing a whole lot of great places. They were walking. That's something that we have something in dissimilar. Doing that to keep their spirits up, you know, because they knew they had a long travel to go to get to where they needed, and a very hard battle to get through in order to make the China that they saw fit for the rest of the world, or for the rest of their people. So for me, I can only know but so much, I can only feel but so much, but I feel so grateful for this, because I've got myself, of course, a little bit stronger. I'm getting over a little bit of my fear of heights. I didn't get scared when we were up there. I was just kind of like, huh, my heart's not beating as fast. That's cool. It's still going to take some time. And also a little bit of the language barrier. I'm getting used to that. But it was a lot of the cultural customs that I've probably enjoyed the most. Not just enjoyed, but loved. It's been so much fun, but it's been so hard. We talk about the heat. We had so much heat in the first week that I thought this was going to be in the entire journey, and I was pretty sure I was going to be sweating bullets the rest of the time. But then we went further and further up. The colder and colder it got, my hands would freeze. Well, now we're in a nice warm area again, and I miss it. But hey, when I leave, I'm going to miss this too.